You're listening to the Time to Level Up podcast. I'm your host, business life coach Andrea Liebross. I help women in business commit to their own growth personally and professionally. Each week, I'll bring you strategies to help you think clearly, gain confidence, make your time productive, turn every obstacle into an opportunity, and finally overcome the overwhelm so that you can make money and manage life. Let's create a plan so you have a profitable business, successful career, and best of all, live with unapologetic ambition. Are you ready to drop the drama and figure out the how in order to reach your goals? You're in the right place. It's time to level up. Let's do this. Hello, my Time to Level Up listeners, and welcome back to the podcast. So, I believe you are listening to this, if you're listening to it when it comes out, at the end of August 2021. And I just wanted to remind you, if you don't know about it already, that my friend and client, Michelle Capizzi, and I are creating a 2-night, 3-day experience we're calling Your Spark. And that is you are, as in Robert, spark, all one word. And you can follow us on Instagram at _YR Spark, all capitals. We would love to invite you to join us with a friend in Hilton Head from November 4th to 6th. Your Spark is an experience for you and a friend, so you need to come with someone. And this someone is probably going to be someone who creates a spark in you, who ignites you, who when you're together, you have fun. You are creative, you're motivated, you're inspired, and someone you like to be with, but maybe you don't see them a lot. So instead of taking a girls' trip where you only lie on the beach, we are inviting you to take a girls' trip to have an experience together where we are going to lie on the beach, have fun, and you're going to get some coaching and some creativity. So you're going to get coaching from me, and you're going to get creative from Michelle. Michelle is an artist. So if you haven't registered, and if we're not yet sold out, because there are only limited spots, we are staying in a huge house with a private chef right near the beach with a beautiful pool. If we're not sold out, go check out _URSPARK on Instagram to get the link to learn more and to register for Your Spark 2021. So the reason we're doing this, there's lots of reasons, but Michelle and I are friends, but we live, I don't know, maybe 600 miles apart, so we don't see each other very often. We talk all the time. Who's that friend that you talk to all the time that you feel like you don't have to start from the beginning, can pick up a conversation in the middle, no matter what time or day? Who is that person that you really enjoy being with, that you are energized by, ignited, and sparked? Find that person, your friend. It could be your family member too. Find that person, and together we want you to come to Your Spark 2021. Okay, now for today's episode. So today's episode is going to be a little different than the last 30 plus episodes that I've recorded, in that I really have not written anything out. I got up this morning and I knew I wanted to record a podcast, and I have a topic, and I even had some notes prepared. But what happened to me this morning, I think, is way more important to share than anything I have previously prepared or prepared ahead of time. I wanted to share the last, say, 7 hours with you. So it's the beginning of August when I'm recording this. And today was my daughter's first day of school. And she is a senior, 12th grade this year. And she next year will be going off to college. And as she likes to say, I am going to college. She doesn't know where, but she is going. So we don't need to talk about it a lot, according to her. But this morning I said to her, I said, listen, please plan an extra 2 minutes into your rushed morning so I can take my first day of school picture. So she was compliant and out we marched. First, we go to the mailbox and we take some pictures in front of the mailbox like we've done for the last 12 or 13 years. And then we go to the front door and we take a few pictures there. And then we go and we stood in front of her car because she drives herself to school now. And we took a few there. And she was very agreeable. And she, smiled and stood there like she usually does. But then she did a few poses on her own, which to me looked pretty sassy. And then she was off. And I even took a video of her driving down the driveway. And after she drove down the driveway away, I actually started to cry. And anyone who knows me on a personal level knows that I really don't cry. Doesn't mean I don't have emotions, but I just don't cry. But I cried. Tears came out. And I went back inside. And ironically, until yesterday, today I had a full day of clients. I actually was supposed to meet a client for my deep dive VIP sessions, which are half days, 4 hours. So by the time that's all wrapped up, it's about 5 hours. And then I had another client this afternoon. But God must have been watching out because yesterday, all of that got canceled and removed from my calendar due to some health issues, my client's health issues. So I've had a day with no clients, no structured work, which is very unusual. So I had the luxury of sitting at the kitchen table for another half an hour with my coffee, and I went through all of the first day of school pictures that I have taken over the last 12 years. And thanks to our friendly iPhones, it was really easy for me to locate 12 first day of school pictures. And I then got creative, which again, not necessarily my forte in this sense of the word. And I made a slideshow of first grade to 12th grade, first day of school pictures. And, Apple's super kind and they put music to it. And you can put a title page on it. So I titled it with her name, First Day of School, Grades 1 to 12. And I watched it. And then I watched it again. And then I watched it a third time. And I cried. And I sat back and I said to myself, Andrea, why are you crying? Why are you crying? So with my coach brain on, I thought, okay, well, crying is an action. I know I can't get away from coaching myself. Crying is an action. So feelings trigger actions and thoughts trigger feelings. So I think the fact was that today was the last first day of school. The action was crying, and I sat there trying to figure out what was in the middle of that model. And in the middle of the model, first I kind of tackled my feelings, and I felt all sorts of things. I felt sad. I felt relief. I felt joy. I felt excited. I felt disappointed. I felt guilty. I had lots and lots of feelings. And then I kind of tracked those feelings one by one back to what my thought was. And that was triggering that feeling. And my thought, the prevalent thought, which I think was really leading to the sadness, which was creating the tears. My thought was that I am losing something. I am losing something. Part of me is about to leave. Part of me is about to go out on her own. And although I can easily go to the excited place, in that moment at 8 a.m., I really was feeling a huge loss. And loss is a stage of grief, really. But then I thought, okay, today I was going to record this podcast, and my podcast topic, which I still will do, is about how life is 50-50. 50% of our emotions are positive, and 50% of our emotions are negative. And although maybe the sadness could be counted as a negative emotion, and I was feeling loss, I was also thinking about how hard it is to parent, how hard it is. And this particular child of mine has had a bunch of challenges. And I feel like with my daughter, the challenges come in big spurts or big rocks drop. She's not someone that's kind of always on edge, okay, or always has some drama going on. She's the kind of kid that when there's something wrong, when there's a problem, when there's drama, it's big. It's not little. And all the other, if there's nothing big going on, then everything's fine. But there are big things. And those big things were really, really hard to parent through. So, along with the sad, I also felt this sense of, oh my gosh, I can't believe we made it through all of those things. And I was thinking about things like, and I've talked about this before, she had scoliosis and had to be in a back brace for multiple years. She at one point had something they thought it was a brain tumor, and she had double vision for 90 days. She's also had her fair share of getting into trouble. Okay, so lots of big things. And what I quickly realized in that life is 50-50 is that even when I was feeling all of those negative emotions when she was going through those particular challenges, if I reflect on it now, there actually was happiness in some of those. And maybe I didn't see that 50% in that moment, but I can see it now. I can see that those trips we took to get the 5 back braces to California, we made those trips fun. And I can see that in that moment where she had that double vision for 90 days, we had fun with her Coke bottle glasses. And I can see sometimes too how those really hard moments were actually when we learned the most. There was a stronger connection through those. So then my brain went to, okay, well, what's my connection? What's my opportunity for connection moving forward? And I thought about the fact that as our children become adults, our connection with them changes, but actually grows stronger. So, I've connected with my kids in supporting them. I've gone to the games and the tennis matches, and I've sat on the sidelines. And that is a way of showing them love and connecting. But that kind of connecting, that connection sometimes is a little fuzzy when you're in the bleachers. You're not right there with them. You're close, but you're not right there. So the connection is fuzzy. But I've noticed even with my son as he's gone off to college that my connection with him is not necessarily fuzzy. It's stronger because when we do talk, we're talking about different things. We're talking about issues. We're having interesting dialogue. And that's just going to be a different kind of connection. And that connection is in my future with my daughter. So although I can be sad that I will watch my last lacrosse game this year, I also can be happy that I'll be able to connect with her in a different way moving forward. So again, there's kind of like the yin and the yang, the negative emotion and the positive emotion. I also thought that about the different stages that she went through, looking at that little first grade face to her 12th grade sassy face, sophisticated, I want to call it too. And then I thought, oh my gosh, there were so many stages. And I thought, oh, I'm going to miss the stages. But then I thought, okay, in adulthood, there's stages too. There's your first job. There's your first maybe really serious marriage type relationship. There's your first child, there's your first house. And all of those things, those are stages too. And I have that to look forward to. And I thought about also, there are different ways of having fun with my kids. Maybe fun used to be pushing them on a swing. In fact, I watch my neighbor do this a lot, push her 2-year-old on a swing. I can see them outside my kitchen window. And that kind of fun is over, but there's lots of fun in store. I even got to the place this morning through the tears of thinking about, how do I want to show up for myself and how do I want to show up for her over the next 9 months? I mean, she still has senior year, and I want to show up ready and willing to have fun. And she's actually a lot of fun to be around, probably more fun than when she was 11 or 12. And I have the privilege and honor of having that more adult kind of fun with her this year and moving forward. And then I thought, okay, well, how is that going to happen? Like, how am I going to have fun? And I thought, you know what? What I need to do is I just need to show up and be willing to be in the flow of things, just kind of be okay with the process of how things unfold, just like I've done for the last 12 years. Because in looking at that little 4th grade face, which I did, the picture was taken in August. I thought, you know what? She had no idea during that 4th grade year that she was going to get gold, first place in a dance competition for her solo. She didn't know that was ahead of her. She didn't know that she also would get that scoliosis diagnosis during 4th grade. She didn't know that she would have a fabulous summer being in a new bunk at camp. And it was the summer, I guess that was going to be her 2nd full summer at camp. So she didn't know what was ahead of her. And I don't know what's ahead of me. So nothing's really changed. Nothing's really changed. So although I was trying to put myself into the future, I recognized that we don't really know what the future holds. It's okay to dream. But that little 4th grade face, even as she put herself into the future and dreamed of winning that gold medal, she didn't know that was going to happen. So that was just another kind of revelation I had about different stages. And I think another thing is that I recognized this morning that the loss I was feeling the loss of her presence disappearing, and her loss as, I don't want to say necessarily she's been my buddy, right? We don't, your kids aren't necessarily your friends when they're little, but I was thinking, you know what? She's going to become more of a friend. That's going to be a gain for me. She's going to become more of a friend. So I'm not really sure exactly what this podcast is about, but I felt really compelled to share with you how I was feeling today. And I felt really compelled to share with you that there were so many tears earlier on today, to the point where I kind of felt like out of control with the tears, which was just so shocking to me, because we do have a whole year of school ahead of us. But I think it's really important to recognize that those feelings that I had this morning were all feelings that I want to have. I didn't squash them down. I didn't move on with my day. I just kind of sat with them. And I'm not to the point, I know I've talked about indulging in emotions. I don't think I'm indulging. I think I'm just okay with feeling the way I'm feeling. And maybe if I record this podcast or look back and listen to this podcast or record another one, a year from now, I probably will have some similar feelings as she goes off to college, but I will have had the practice of going through this August. And I've also had the practice of going through this with my son. So I honestly think that I'm getting better at feeling this way because I've had some practice. And I've had practice knowing that life is 50-50. 50% of our emotions are positive and 50% of our emotions are negative. And that is just the way life is. That is our humanness. I don't know if dogs feel 50% positive and 50% negative. I don't think caterpillars feel that way. But I do know that as humans, that is our gift. That's a gift that we have, to be able to feel an array of emotions. And I want to just leave you with this last thought. I was trying to describe to myself the kind of up and down roller coastery feel of emotions that I was having. And I thought, I think what's going on is that I am just experiencing a lot of color. Her last 12 years from first grade to 12th grade have been very colorful. They've been colorful. And some of colors have been pink, and some of the colors have been red, and some of the colors have been blue, and some of the colors have been green. And all those colors, they're still available to me and to her as we move forward. You know, the rainbow never ends. So the colors are all still going to be there, and there's going to be an array of colors moving forward. But when I thought about my emotions as colors, it actually gave me a sense of relief, because I know that in order to live this human life we're living, we get to experience all of the colors. So if you have someone that is closing a chapter, if you've got a child that's closing a chapter or opening a chapter, I really encourage you to sit with how you're feeling and really ask yourself, name the feelings. And then ask yourself, what are the thoughts that are creating those feelings? And do you not necessarily want to feel those feelings forever, but are you okay with feeling them for now? Because all of this is just growth. It's all growth. So, my friends, feel free to share this episode with anyone that you know who is experiencing what it's like on the first day of school of senior year as a parent, or anyone that's sending their kid off to college, or whatever's going on. I would love for you to take a screenshot and share this episode with them and tag me so I know you're sharing it. If you want to talk about this more, message me. I'd love to chat about it with you. And reminder, if it's time for you to get away with a friend and walk away from that weekend, not asking yourself, what did we do all weekend, but saying, I know exactly what we did and it was amazing, I really encourage you to join us in Hilton Head, November 4th through 6th. Check out _you are, as in Robert, spark, your spark on Insta for all the details. I promise you, you may have a few tears that weekend, like I did this morning, but you will have way more smiles, laughs, and joy. And here's a little PS. If you want to catch the slideshow that I made, I will put a link in the show notes so you can see grades 1 to 12. Okay, my friends, until next week, remember, it is always a good time to level up. See you soon. Thanks for tuning in to today's show. If you're ready to commit to personal and professional growth, move forward, make money, and manage life, head to AndreaLiebross.com. That's AndreaLiebross.com to find out about the ways we can work together. Until next time, go level up.